welcome to the Looney Bin, the Great Pop Culture Debates extra special fashion photo review of Canada's Drag Race. I'm your host, Eric Resniak, and I'm again joined by my extra special panelists, Brett Chin, Curtis Creekmore, and Kai Nesset-Chin. And we are going to toot, boot, shoot, and poot the looks from episode 8 of Canada's Drag Race. This week's challenge was a makeover in which our remaining 5 queens had to make over some refugees, which from the Rainbow, the Canadian Rainbow, something like that.
Rainbow Railroad.
Rainbow Railroad, something Canada's doing right that America should really get on. And we had some fascinating results. So we're going to go right into it with our first gal, who is Priyanka, and with her, her new sister, Electra. And I'm going to throw it to Brett.
So the challenge was to make over that person to look like their sisters. And so even though this outfit is very simple, they do look like sisters, and the makeup was on point. Yes, she's just wearing like a bodysuit with some feathers on it. Ostrich feathers on it. I did like the fact, of course, her makeup's always great, and but I like the fact that they were different a little bit, but they did look like sisters, and Priyanka's just wearing like a leotard with feathers on it, but I'm gonna toot it only because he did meet the brief, and they look like sisters to me.
All right, Curtis.
The only sisters they look like are sisters coming out the whorehouse together. They look like straight up hookers. I mean, even in the screenshot that I took, that pose that Priyanka's hitting, that's the street corner right there. Which one you want? Both? Okay, $250.
Are you trying to say that this is a bad thing? Because that's 100% what I would be going for. But go on.
I was aghast. I was flabbergasted. I was so many words when they read Scarlett for wearing a bodysuit with stuff on it, but they let Priyanka win. Spoiler, that's supposed to come beforehand. Spoiler, she wins this week. I think they look okay, but this is a boot. This is not elevated fashion. This is not fashion at all. It's not very great. I guess they kind of look like sisters, but I'm really upset, honestly, that she won this week because I don't think she deserved it.
All right, Curtis is mad. What about you, Kai?
I appreciate, Curtis, what you said, because I really have a lot of feelings about the judging on this specific episode personally. I don't know what they're thinking, so I try to keep that out of me looking at these looks themselves, because I agree with Curtis. They said that it wasn't okay for Bobo to wear it, but then she wears it, and then in Untucked they're arguing who has the better accent piece on their look or whatever. So they look like sisters. I think Brett's right. They met the brief. And they looked enough alike and enough different that it didn't bother me. It wasn't like exactly the same thing like you'll see later, or things that are complete opposite like you'll see later. The only critique that I have, and this is being nitpicky, is I don't really love the jewels over the wig on the head. I mean, maybe if they were both bald, this look would have just given it for me, and then they had those on top. The hair did look a little thirsty still, but at the brief, she looks good. It's a toot.
So I think we should all at this point just accept that in Canada, everything is dehydrated when it comes to wigs. Like, that is the lesson of the season. All wigs are thirsty. That's got to be some type of an acronym that we'll have to work on. But in terms of this particular look for this challenge, I'll agree with Curtis. It was not great. It was not like an amazing win. But I guess I looked at this, I was setting my bar super, super low. I was comparing this makeover to the early season of US Drag Race's makeovers. And you go back and you look at like the season 1 and season 2 makeovers, they are not great. They are super pedestrian. You can read this for just being a bodysuit that is not fashion, that is not like, no one would wear these outfits ever to anything. But do I think they look bad? I don't. I think they look fine. I think Electra is getting a little too close to showing me her Between Me Down Theirs is. That is a real short skirt. I see exactly what Kai is saying about the jewels on top of the head. It's almost like a bowl that has been turned upside down, and it's fashion bowl. But it's not terrific. It is not what I would consider a winning look. Of the 5, there was only one that I would consider a winning look. And spoiler, I believe it was a low placement. But I don't think it's objectively bad. Like, I don't think they look terrible. So I am going to toot it, but I will agree that it was not like, oh, this is a resounding winner. So moving on.
Eric, wait.
Yes.
I have an acronym.
Okay.
TWAT.
Okay.
The wigs are thirsty.
Love it.
These
Canada
wigs
is
are
twat.
thirsty.
Yes. I love it. Perfect. Well done, Curtis. Stealing it. You heard it here, folks. Next up, we have Scarlet Bobo and her brand new sissy, Violet Bobo. And I'm again going to throw it to Brent.
So again, it's very simple. And I don't feel like she did as good of a job making her sister over to me. Her makeup looks amazing, but her sister's did not to me. And they just put a jacket with fringe over a bodysuit, a one piece to me. So I am going, like I was on the fence with this one, but I'm going to boot it.
Curtis.
It's more of the same. I mean, one fringe is longer than the other. Why is Scarlett's fringe longer? That's not fair. I appreciated Violet. Violet has the prettiest smile. I love that she was feeling her fantasy every step of the way, even though she was absolutely a man in heels every step of the way. But I appreciated it. I did. This is not elevated. It's not good. I don't think they look like sisters. Brett said I don't think she did a good enough job on the makeup to really get that family resemblance. I guess it's kind of there. It's still it's a boot. It's a bodysuit.
Bodysuit boot. Kai.
I actually like her makeup. I think she looks pretty good for how she's looked this season. I mean, she's looked better. I like that she gave us something different with the hair. Haven't seen her in something like that before. And I think she met the brief for me. They do look like sisters. I also really thought her sister Violet was really living for herself. I really felt like that's what they probably felt on stage, and maybe why she ended up not being in the bottom. But it's a bodysuit and the fringe, and different colored jackets. And I mean, I'm gonna toot it because I do think that she met the brief. I do not like it, but maybe I'm feeling nice. I guess for me, it was that I saw them having fun on the runway, and that's what I enjoyed. So maybe the selling is what did it for me, but I'll give it a very soft, almost silent toot.
I need a moment to recover from the stroke that I just had after Kai tooted this, because I'm going to counteract that with a poot. I hate this. I hate it. I
Vacation
think
is over, baby.
Vacation's over, honey. She's back, and she's got some thoughts. This may be the least favorite thing I've seen on the runway the entire season. I'm not joking. This is the fact that this was in the top and allegedly considered for the win. You have to be fucking kidding me. So let's get the good stuff out of the way. As everyone has said, Scarlett's makeup is beautiful. Scarlett's makeup is always beautiful. She's an incredibly talented makeup artist. There's no question with that. I agree with Kai that I like that she did something different with the wig. I believe they had wigs from Wigs and Grace to use for this. Shout out to Wigs and Grace. I just ordered one of those for someone on this podcast's birthday, and they have good wigs. That is where the praise ends. This is not just a bodysuit. This is a fourth tier majorette costume from 1992. At one point, Scarlett said, who would mix these things together? No one would mix these things together because it looks like shit. The bodysuits are really tacky looking and old and cheap looking. Those leather jackets are appalling to me. The fringe is terrible. They read Boa to filth for her denim fringy wings a couple of weeks ago. I like that better than I like this. It is a miss, the complete total miss for me. And the fact that this was in the top,
Yeah.
give me a break. Like enough. Like people complain that the judges are too harsh. It's not that the judges are too harsh. It's that the producers are telling the judges who to like and who not to like, and it bears no resemblance to what's actually on the show. We have heads, we have eyes, we have mouths and ears. We see how they're doing. This being at the top, miss me with that. Poot. Next, we have Lemon and her new sister / grandmother, Lime.
Yeah.
Brett.
Exactly. This went very sour. Lemon went sour. Lemon and lime went really sour for me. Lime's makeup is terrible. Like, it made her look way older than she is. And it just bothers me she's not wearing a breastplate or anything. No hips, no nothing. Like, ugh, it's definitely a boot for me.
Curtis.
I'm on the fence here. It's so bad. It's so bad. What? It's August something. So Party City,
24th.
August 24th. Party City has October like Halloween shit out. You can go get this if you want it. It's right there. She has no body. How are you going to put two men down a runway in a drag competition and not shape them again? Been in drag or maybe been in drag once or would have been killed if they were in drag, and you're not going to do anything to give them a feminine shape. This is mind-boggling to me. I not even looking at the face, which is awful. Like, I understand that I believe he has some acne scarring, so there's some stuff that, you know, she had to fight, but the shade of the season was when I think it was Priyanka brought up the fact that Lemon likes to paint all of her friends so that she's the prettiest one in the room.
Oof.
This is a poot. This, if it could go lower than a poot, it would. I'm going to make the text
Scoot.
brown. Poot.
A scoot. Kai.
I think my biggest thing with Lemon this whole season has been that she talks a big game. And I think that's also been my problem with Priyanka at certain points. You know, she says she can do improv and then she bombs the acting challenge. Lemon literally was bragging about how she does all these people up in her show even. And then this, you know, I go again back to last week. She's like, I just did hips in the challenge to show everyone that I could. And it's like, now continue that. And the reason why this look failed for me, and I think so badly, is not necessarily Lemon, but her sister. You know,
Grandma.
when grandma gets to be a certain age, she doesn't really have boobs anymore. She doesn't really have an hourglass figure anymore. So I just feel like you aged her like 50 years. If he had even just given her pads and boobs, I think it would have been more okay for me. I think I was just disappointed. I don't understand why they kept saying all season they're jealous of her. I didn't understand that. I think it was her time to go home with this look. It's a boot for sure.
I actually do understand why people were jealous / threatened by Lemon, because I think in the performance challenges she brought it quite a bit. There were a couple bobbles here and there, but I thought she was very good in the acting, the snatch game, the pageant challenges. I think she's actually a really good performer. She needs more time. Like, I didn't realize until this episode how new to drag she was, and that really kind of got hammered home, especially towards the elimination. Like, she said, I'm the one out of all these queens who has the least amount of experience in drag, and I wouldn't have guessed that necessarily from episode 1. So I like Lemon a lot, I really do, and I actually think Lemon looks fine here. Lemon by herself is not the problem, but Lime is really bad. Like, it's rough. The judge is like, it's not sisters, it's mother daughter. No, it really is grandmother or granddaughter, and the makeup is unforgivably bad. The makeup is veering toward the Jocelyn Fox makeover in season 6, where he turned that poor basketball player into the Lady Gremlin and he vomited.
Yeah.
It is. It's.
You vomited.
I felt bad for her makeover partner. I act like he was on the stage. And I was like, oh no, hasn't he suffered enough? Like
Yeah.
it just seemed, and I really like Lemon. I hope to see her on All Stars. I am excited to see her out and about in New York. That was not a read. I genuinely am excited to see her out and about in New York. This was a serious misfire. I'm not gonna poot it because I still hate Scarlett's more, but I'm gonna boot it. Moving on, next we have Rita Baga and her partner Terry Baga. And I'm gonna give it to Brett for this bizarre melange in front of me.
Um, yeah, I didn't get it for me. I get that it wasn't supposed to be sisters in this one because she said it was going to be like mother daughter kind of thing, but it was just very uneventful. Just not like Curtis was saying, it's not elevated at all for me. I didn't mind it, but the reveal wasn't great, and it was, again, I don't know. And I didn't get the clowns really, so I'm gonna boot it.
Curtis.
I guess everybody took a trip to Party City because
Mm.
literally, this is, we've had so many seasons of Drag Race at this point. You know, at the end, top 5-ish, there's going to be a makeover. And you're probably going to have to dress as this person's family member of some kind. So why not just plan ahead and bring 2 of something, and something that will fit a couple different body types. This is really bad, and I gave 2 screenshots here because there was a reveal with this one where they took off one piece of shitty fabric to show the shitty fabric underneath. I think the paint looks okay. I think actually their paint, because Rita's is so specific to her, like it's very, very much her style, I think they look the closest to being family members across everyone, but the looks are really bad. I'm gonna boot it because I've already given 1 poot today, but it's just not good, and Rita can do better. We've seen so much better.
Kai.
Yeah, I can't say much more than that. I do think that they kind of, Priyanka tried to read her for the makeup she was doing on her, and I thought, well, it doesn't look that bad to me. I mean, the makeup in drag world is like such a huge spectrum that, like, wait till she gets her outfit on. You don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Now, obviously, she was going clown, so it worked. I did think she did well in the makeup. That's about all I can say. I was really disappointed. I've just seen her do so much better. For me, it didn't meet the brief. I feel like she got confused with the mother-daughter thing, and then other people had to be sisters, but they could be mother-daughter, but Lemon couldn't be mother-daughter. And so I just think, for me, it was about the brief. I don't think this met it. So it's a boot.
The funny thing with this is, I understand that Rita's supposed to be her mother, but I actually think, despite the hair color, that her partner actually looks older than Rita does here. So, yeah, I'm sure that, like, if you're a French person, maybe this comedy makes more sense to you. I feel like that's part of this. Like, it feels like maybe if I was in a different cultural space, this might be funny to me. It just fell flat. The whole thing fell flat. And it's not a very good look. It's not super flattering. It's not super interesting. It feels dated. It feels cheap. I appreciate that at least there was an attempt to do something different, but I don't think this was the challenge to do something different. If Rita had brought out some girl who was in a beautiful gown and walked down the stage and they looked virtually the same and maybe a slightly different color, she could have killed it. We know she can do it. And this was a swing and a miss for me. So it's a boot. And our final girls are Jimbo and her partner Bimbo, and I'm going to give it to Brett.
So I appreciate that Jimbo made these outfits too, and they were dressed in identical, and the judges read her because they said that it was too dirty or too provocative to be sisters, whatever. But I loved it. I thought it was fun. I got what she was doing. She's trying to do sexy, trampy, campy She did it with the big boobs and everything, and padded, and they looked great. And so I'm tooting it.
Dirty, sexy, trampy bitch stole my fucking look. Curtis?
She did Jimbo. Like everything that you just said, that's Jimbo. She was the truest to herself. And it was so frustrating when the judges said that she was, I don't even remember what it was, but they basically said that she wasn't doing camp.
Yeah.
But she is. Like this is camp. This is her. Like you just a couple weeks ago in the pageant, this is what she did and you loved it, but now you don't love it. Like the producers are very visible. They may as well be like standing behind the judges at all
Yep.
times because they're so visible. This is amazing. This is exactly what I was saying. Bring a second look that is basically the same thing, and the hair looks amazing. They look related. I don't care if they were tit slapping each other or whatever. And the one thing that I was most impressed by, the titty bib that he put on this bimbo is make-upped because it was not that color. He actually color matched to this to Bimbo's face and did a really good job with it. So it's an absolute toot.
Kai?
Yeah, you can't really say a lot more than that. I'm so confused by the judging, and now you guys keep saying this producer stuff, and I'm going, okay. But I just feel like it's hard for me to trust the judges. I guess I trust Brooklyn the most, which I would not have thought I would coming into this season. But it's just so hard to hear some of these critiques because the only critique they could come up with was that sisters don't slap each other's boobs like that. I mean, that was it. They had nothing bad to say about it. And somehow she ended up in the bottom 3. I am so confused by that. Brilliantly executed. And I think the panties for me could have been a slight nitpick, but they were so snatched to their bodies. And I thought, top to bottom, it was a great look. Well done, Jimbo. I will take one as well. It's a 2.
Which is the top and which is the bottom, Cry?
What do you mean?
No, you said top to bottom. No,
Oh, yeah.
be kidding. They're all bottoms.
Verse, bitch.
Yeah, first bitch. This is a total 2. Earlier I had said that there's only one look that I felt was elevated enough to kind of even really work in a modern Drag Race season's makeover. This is that look. This looks good. It is 100% unquestionable bullshit if you line all 5 of these contestants and their partners up side by side by side. This is ultimately an aesthetics challenge, right? We can all agree with this. This isn't a performance challenge. This is an aesthetic challenge. Does your person look like your sister? Hello. This is like clearly the most successful. Bimbo looked great. Bimbo looked like an actual drag queen. Bimbo was giving me Womana. Exactly. And Jimbo looked fantastic. And for them to sit there and be like, I just don't know. We're really looking for Jimbo's camp. You think she was being fucking serious with her like practically Frenching her sister on the runway?
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? Last week she's like, I'm going to question what's his face's knowledge of the English language. Go ahead, let's question it, because I don't think they understand what camp is. I genuinely don't understand it. This
Part
is
of me thought too that this is like they're coming after Jimbo, and Jeffrey coming after Jimbo was kind of like, is this because he said that last week? Because I'm trying to find out why.
I think it's because the producers want Jimbo to go down, period. Like, again, the invisible hand of the producer is not invisible this season at all. And we've seen this in Drag Race before in other seasons. There's no question. Season 7 is lousy with examples of producers just randomly selecting people to chuck into the bottom 2 and giving other people wins where you're like, how the fuck did that happen? That's what's happening on Canada over and over again. But it's especially egregious because there are people like Jimbo here who are killing it in this challenge. And I've critiqued Jimbo before. I thought that Jimbo's look last week was not good at all, like bad. And I also have issues with the way Jimbo speaks about specifically Rita. I think she's really a bad sport in her talking heads. But this is well made. This is it totally fits the challenge. It's slutty to the nth degree, but since when is it bad for a drag queen to be like overtly playfully slutty? Like, hello.
And she was playing to her partner.
Exactly.
Bimbo said she was slutty. Bimbo wanted, and I think that was another part of the brief. They were having fun. She was living her life, and it was like, for what she'd been through, this is great that she's getting this fun moment.
And as you said, like, again, part of this maybe have been, how was the partner doing on stage? Bimbo was having a great time. Scarlett's partner was clearly having a great time, even though was not serving as a woman in any way, shape, or form. Like, those are people who obviously were enjoying themselves, whereas like you could see Lime dying inside. And I don't even remember Priyanka's person, and like Rita's was a non-entity to me. Like she was full Technicolor and I didn't even notice her on that runway. But the fact that this was in the bottom three, like, come on. The jig is up, ladies and gentlemen. This is a toot, there's no question. With that said, that brings us to the end of our girls for this week, and I'm going to go around for the top toots of the week. Brett, who are you giving it to?
Jimbo and Bimbo.
Curtis.
Jimbo and Bimbo. There is no other answer.
Kai.
There is, and it's Bobo. No, it's Jimbo.
I'll kill you.
It's Jimbo for sure. I mean, the fact that he made those two and they just so quickly overlook shit like that. I mean, it's Jimbo. Come on.
It's, yeah, and for me, it's obviously Jimbo. And I love this show. I love the queens. I actually really do like the judges all individually, but I hope they get a second season. Producers, you got to knock this fucking shit off. We are not stupid. We see right through this. It's 2020. We get how reality TV works. And you're going to have a real problem on your hands if you try to keep treating the audience like they're fucking stupid. So please figure it out. And with that, that is the end of our episode. Thank you so much for watching. I'll get off of my soapbox. Enjoy the penultimate episode. We have one more elimination. And just real quick for our cast members on this, our panelists, who do we think is going home before final three? Brett, if you had to pick, who do you think of the remaining four who's going home?
I think it's going to be Bobo.
Curtis.
Bobo. She has no wins.
She has no wins. Kai?
If it's not Bobo, then I mean, the producers are doing something.
Eric's not saying anything because Eric knows. So thank you again for watching. We appreciate it. Please, if you enjoyed this, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Insta, on Twitter, on Facebook, which is a garbage profile.
On the YouTube.
On the YouTubes. And go over to greatpopculturedebate.com where you can find all the episodes of our podcast. You can find new polls that are up for your votes. Your say actually determines what we debate on the show. And please find our podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you listen to mediocre podcasts. So thank you very much. Thank you to all my panelists for joining me, and we hope you have an awesome day. Bye.